Training camp is officially here, and blood is about to be spilled on the practice field as grown men fight for their absolute NFL survival. Every single summer, fans fall in love with training camp stories, but the cold, harsh reality of the National Football League is that dozens of dreams are about to be completely crushed. With roster cutdown day officially moved up to Sunday, August 30th, literally the day right after the preseason finale wraps up, the front office and coaching staff have zero time to sit back, digest tape, or second-guess themselves. They are going to have to make ruthless, split-second roster decisions almost immediately after the final whistle blows. That means every single practice rep, every single one-on-one drill, and every single snap in the preseason is life or death for these players. Drop a quick like on this video, hit that share button, and smash subscribe right now so you stay locked in for every single breakdown all season long. When you really audit this 53-man roster entering the heat of camp, the brutal math becomes clear ridiculously fast. You have roughly 32 undeniable, ironclad locks who are guaranteed a spot on this football team barring a catastrophic event. At quarterback, Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent are complete non-negotiables. The backfield features heavy hitters like DeAndre Swift and rookie Kyle Manengai. Out wide, the receiving core is stacked with Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Khalif Raymond, and Xavier Thomas. The tight end room is loaded with absolute playmakers in Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, and Sam Laporta. Meanwhile, along the offensive line, you have physical anchors like Darnell Wright, Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Garrett Bradbury, and Logan Jones. Flipping over to the defensive side of the football, the lock list only grows more impressive. Up front, you have game disruptors like Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Deo Odiingbo, and Shamar Turner, though Turner's health status in camp could potentially make him a candidate for short-term injured reserve depending on how his recovery progresses. On the interior, Grady Jarrett and Jervin Dexter Sr. are ready to cause havoc. The linebacker core features proven leaders in Devin Bush and T.J. Edwards. In the secondary, you are looking at absolute lockdown cornerbacks and hard-hitting safeties in Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tariq Stevenson, Malik Muhammad, Kobe Bryant, and Dylan Thiemann. Factor in your special teams weapons, kicker Cairo Santos and punter Torrey Taylor, and you are looking at 32 players who can already put their name on a locker. Now, do you think this core group of 32 locks is enough to legitimately contend for a division title this season? Or are there massive red flags on this roster that the front office completely ignored? When you push past the undeniable locks, you hit the safe tier. Players who would cause massive shockwaves across the league if they were somehow cut before Week 1. We are talking about reliable contributors like Case Keenum, Jay Walker, Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, Neville Gallimore, Jordan Vandenberg, Daniel Hardy, DeMarvion Overshown, Keyshawn Elliott, and Terrell Smith. Add in ultimate special teams aces like Josh Blackwell, Cam Lewis, and Elijah Hicks, and suddenly you have up to 45 roster spots completely filled. Now throw in the fact that a dedicated long snapper has to take up spot number 46, whether that ends up being Luke Elkin or Bo Gardner, and the math becomes absolutely terrifying. Out of a 53-man roster, 46 spots are virtually spoken for before the first full padded practice even begins. That leaves a measly, razor-thin margin of just 7 open spots for dozens of hungry, desperate players fighting for their careers. The gladiator games are about to begin at running back, wide receiver, offensive line, linebacker, tight end, and across the defensive line. This brings us directly to our official question of the day. If you were forced to step into the general manager's shoes today, which specific bubble player are you keeping on the final 53-man roster, and which notable player are you ruthlessly cutting loose? Drop your ultimate keep and cut picks in the comments section down below right now. Let's dive into the absolute war taking place in the running back room, headlined by Roschon Johnson. Look, it is make or break, do or die, absolute emergency time for Roschon. His NFL career has been a roller coaster of frustration and pure bad luck. Coming out as a rookie, he showed legitimate flashes of brilliance, putting up over 350 rushing yards and proving to be a dangerous weapon out of the backfield. He established himself as a goal line muscle man, punching in 6 touchdowns in tight yardage situations. But then, the injury bug hit him like a freight train. A lingering foot issue in training camp cost him valuable time, followed by a back injury, and then a broken thumb that completely derailed his momentum. What makes Roschon's situation so dangerously precarious is his physical play style. He is a downhill thumper who lowers his shoulder and initiates brutal contact to squeeze out extra yardage. But when you have a history featuring multiple concussions, that aggressive playstyle becomes a double-edged sword. The golden opportunity for him, however, is that the front office did not bring in a high-profile veteran running back this offseason. The RB3 spot is wide open for the taking. But he is going to have to outwork Britton Brown, who showed explosive, violent running ability down the stretch, and withstand the threat of Salvon Ahmed, who has deep, personal coaching ties from his time in Miami. If Roschon cannot prove his body can hold up to the physical pounding while delivering high-tier special teams value, his time in this offense is officially over. Over in the wide receiver room, the battle for depth is equally dramatic. Scotty Miller signed on as a veteran tryout during rookie minicamp and impressed coaches enough to earn a contract, putting him squarely in line for that potential sixth receiver spot. But will the coaching staff even carry 6 receivers this year? If the offensive scheme decides to lean heavily into heavy, multi-tight end packages, they might decide to carry 5 receivers and hoard extra tight ends instead. That opens up a golden pathway for an undrafted rookie like Hayden Large. Head coaches love guys who play dirty and do the invisible work, and Large has been explicitly singled out for his versatility. He is a hybrid tight end, fullback, an H-back monster who can decimate defenders on outside zone running schemes and throw his body around on kickoff coverage. Meanwhile, Nico Remigio, who earned playoff elevations last postseason, is lurking in the shadows ready to steal a job. Then, you have the single most volatile, highest-stakes storyline of the entire offseason. Jedrick Wills Jr. This former first-round draft pick possesses a wider range of outcomes than almost anyone else in the league. When he is healthy and dialed in, Wills has displayed top-tier, anchor tackle traits. But he has not played a full, healthy season in years and spent the last 2 seasons battling a unique, frustrating leg injury. In fact, he hasn't even strapped on shoulder pads for a real football game in almost 2 entire seasons. Now that he is cleared and healthy, the spectrum is insane. He could realistically come into camp, dominate in full pads, and capture the starting left tackle job outright. Or, he could look completely rusted out, get outperformed by depth guys, and get outright released before the season even starts. When you are a former top pick playing on a team with top-tier offensive line coaching, this camp is literally his last stand to save his NFL career. The secondary is naturally breeding pure chaos as well. Jalen Jones has been a trusted special teams contributor, but this cornerback room has become an absolute pressure cooker. With superstars and high draft picks locking down the top of the depth chart, keeping a 7th corner comes down to a direct, head-to-head clash between Jalen Jones and Terrell Smith. Smith is working his way back from a major ACL injury, but when he is on the field, his defensive coverage tape at outside corner is significantly better than Jones. In a passing league where starting defensive backs get hurt every single week, can this team really afford to waste a precious roster spot on a pure special teams player over a corner who can step up and lock down star wide receivers on defense? The agonizing decisions keep piling up at linebacker too. You have Devin Bush, T.J. Edwards, DeMarco Jackson, and 5th-round rookie Keyshawn Elliott essentially locked in. That leaves Ruben Hippolyte II and fan-favorite Jack Sanborn aggressively fighting over what might be a single remaining spot. But the explosive wild card here is Noah Sewell. If Sewell is fully cleared and healthy following his devastating Achilles injury, his natural talent could push him straight onto the 53-man roster. If Sewell takes that spot, last year's draft picks and proven starters are going to be kicked straight to the curb. On the interior offensive line, Luke Newman and Jordan McFadden are going toe-to-toe in a heavyweight brawl. McFadden won massive respect inside the building last year when he stepped up in the high-pressure environment of the playoff divisional round and held his own at guard. On the flip side, Newman offers critical positional flexibility at both guard and center, which coaching staffs prioritize heavily when constructing game day rosters. Throw in Theo Benedict's ability to play swing tackle, and the front office is going to have to play a high-stakes game of roster Tetris. Finally, look at the defensive tackle spot, where a classic veteran battle is taking place between Kentavious Street and Roy Lopez. Street has enjoyed a far more productive career across multiple defensive schemes, while Lopez offers unique positional flexibility to slide outside to edge in specific packages. Unless a young project player like Jordan Vandenberg falls flat on his face and gets stashed on the practice squad, there is simply no physical room for both of these massive defensive tackles to make the cut. One of them is getting sent home. The countdown clock is ticking down fast, and every single rep inside training camp is going to carry immense, career-altering weight. Preseason football is right around the corner, and we are going to be tracking every single tackle, injury update, and depth chart shakeup every single day. Make sure you do not miss a single second of the madness. Hit that subscribe button immediately, turn on your notification bell, drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get ready for a wild ride.